drove along this morning, and that's going to let Tim Legler drop a bunch of threes. And Windy's got his fresh playoff haircut ready to go out west. Let's do this thing. Oh, what a game one we had last night in the West between the Mavs and the Timberwolves, between Luka and Anthony Edwards in the West Final. And I tell you what, Alan, Kyrie Irving heard the smoke, and he came out fast.
Yes, absolutely. Letting Anthony Edwards know there's levels to this. Okay, let me set the tone early. 24 points in the first half.
Exactly right. His second most in a first half in his playoff career. To the third we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Karl Anthony Towns for liftoff.
Boom, baby. Now, remember this play. Karl Anthony Towns really good at the putback dunk. Keep this in mind.
Yes, foreshadowing. T-Wolves up 1 after 3. Neither team had a double-digit lead at any point in this game. Allen, Luka Doncic quiet in the first half, but he turns it on in the fourth quarter.
That's the beauty of having two stars. One guy gets you started, the other guy closes the deal, and that's what Luka did in the fourth quarter.
Luka, a personal 7-0 run, part of a 13-0 Dallas run that gave the Mavericks the lead. Now 5 minutes to go. Karl Anthony Towns.
Honestly,
you know, he's got the range from downtown. He grew up as a guard. He's got skills, and he can knock down the three.
30-footer, yes. Maybe too many threes from the Timberwolves and him, but that one was big.
He had 16. Anthony Edwards, something of a quiet offensive light. 19 points, 11 rebounds, but the Wolves a 4-point lead. Next, Mavs possession. Luka, how do you stop this?
No, you can't. It's a step back and 1 foot and just knocks it down. That's Luka magic.
He would knock down 3 threes. Now we're just over 2 minutes to go. Mavs down by 1, and they beautifully work into a wide-open corner three.
Corner three from P.J. Washington. Where have we heard that before? Ask the Thunder. They saw it.
Now, here's that play you were talking about. Mavs are up by 2. Under 2 minutes to go. Here comes Towns for the putback, but wait, they're going to wave it off. Basket interference. Is it a good call?
It is a good call. Ball in the cylinder. Look at it. Watch it. Right above and right there. You can see it. It's still above the rim. That took 5 seconds to review, which is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're a minute 15 seconds. And it's Doncic playing the defense. How about Luka on the defensive end?
The D in Doncic stands for defense, but it also stands for this. Close the deal.
33 points for Luka. 6 rebounds, 8 assists. So he had the 33. Kyrie finished with 30. The Mavs, a huge win on the road to steal game 1 in a thriller, 108-105. And afterwards, Kyrie was talking about the 1-2 punch.
We've been able to figure out that 1-2 punch of just playing the point guard role, playing that main scorer's role. And when it's his time to score, it's my time to play defense and get up in my guy and contest shots and continue to do the little things that get us wins.
I don't think we played our best basketball tonight, 1 through 15. I think Jaden was the only one that came ready to play tonight. And I think everybody else let him down. I think we'll see what type of game it'll be Friday. Everybody will bring their best brand of basketball from the Timberwolves, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so the stage is set, and we've got a lot to unpack here. Put your feet up, folks. We're not going anywhere for a while. We'll be all over this all morning long. Legler, I'm going to start with you. You get the credit. You were the one who told me, I want to say it was in February, watch Dallas. If they get the right draw, they could wind up in the NBA Finals. They're now 3 wins away, and their dynamic duo was spectacular last night.
They were incredible, and look, it comes down to closing the game, and Dallas just did a better job of that. They made the defensive rotations, the defensive deflections. I think Luka Doncic made the best defensive play of his career, breaking up that lob to Rudy Gobert. I mean, he had to backpedal and then get off the ground above the rim. I don't think I've ever seen Luka Doncic look more athletic on a basketball court than he did on this play. First, he slides over to take away the dive, and then he sort of hangs out in the paint. And watch this. I mean, to backpedal 1 step and go up and deflect that ball. If Rudy Gobert gets that, dunks it, it's a tie game. Give Luka all the credit in the world. But then on the other end, he gets to these spots on the floor where he can get that little lean back jumper, and that's really how he controlled the game. I felt like he was going to have a lot of success in this series offensively because it's a different kind of defender that they're throwing at him. And look, Kyrie was spectacular. If Kyrie doesn't do what he did in the first half, they're down 15 at halftime. He was their one main offensive weapon in the first half. So to Kyrie's point, they have worked out how to mesh. They've worked out how to be deferential when they need to be and be aggressive when they need to be. Dallas closed the game. That's the bottom line. They got it done on both ends of the floor at the critical time.
Absolutely. So you had Kyrie in the first half, and you had Luka in the fourth quarter. In golf, we call it ham and egging it, right? You got, on some holes, it's Mr. Ham. On some holes, it's Mr. Egg. Windy is there in Minneapolis covering the West Series for us. And, Windy, you've covered Kyrie basically his entire career. What version of him are we seeing right now?
I've never seen Kyrie Irving like this in mind, body, or spirit. I was recalling the last time I covered him in a conference finals, which was back in 2017, and the way he has transformed himself as a player and even as an athlete, because he is the first Maverick on the floor at 5 in the afternoon. He's out there on the floor working on his shots. Physically, he is in absolutely tremendous condition. He's one of the best conditioned athletes in the league. You never would have said that 5 or 6 years ago. And the thing that most impresses me, and he says this all the time if you listen to him in his interviews, he's so focused on making sure Luka can thrive and finding ways to make Luka comfortable and working on helping Luka. What can I do night in and night out to fill up what Luka needs and help him out? I really would love to wonder and love to truly hear what LeBron James and Kevin Durant think of seeing this Kyrie Irving, because those were issues. That was a thing. And Kyrie has gone through all of these scars. He's made some mistakes. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with the transformation I have seen across the board. And my gosh, was that on display last night.
Dynamic duo was last night. They combined for 63 points and 12 assists. So they scored or assisted on 81 of the Mavericks' 108 points in the game last night. So, Alan, I remember we were having, I don't remember exactly when it was, but at some point we were having a conversation about the best duos.
April 11th. I looked it up.
Okay. Fair enough.
I went right to my Instagram and found it. April 11th.
Outstanding research. I mean, right now, they've got to be right in that conversation.
Yeah, we said it April 11th. They are the best duo in the NBA, what they have found with each other. And it took a minute, of course it did, but it has worked out beautifully to this point. And that's what you're showing, and that's what you're seeing. And most importantly, it's another reminder to everybody watching these playoffs, as we don't have any MVPs. Any of the current MVPs that are still playing in the league are not playing in this. It's all the new faces. But what you have still is the one thing that we know is the constant in the NBA. When you have stars, you win, especially when those stars are on the same page. And these two guys are on absolutely the same page. And what Wendy's talking about, when it's a mind, body, and spirit, that's the holy trinity for any athlete when you can get there. It's also like that place in Nirvana where he's 32 now. So he has all the experience of good and bad that he's learned and still has the physical ability to play at a high level. He's put that together right now, and the Mavs have a great chance to get to the finals.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's a lot of this talk like, listen, I mean, I'm one, on my previous show, I used to argue that Robin is a superhero. Like we sometimes talk about Batman and Robin, and we act like Robin is just sort of a throwaway because every now and again Batman has to save him. But at the end of the day, like I think being called a great Robin sometimes feels like a backhanded compliment, but in reality, it is not. Scottie Pippen was one of the greatest players that ever lived, and so have many others. And if that is the perfect role, Legler, for Kyrie Irving to be in, then it is. And this combination, I don't know that any of us would have gone into it thinking, oh yeah, Kyrie and Luka will be way better than Kyrie and Kevin Durant would be. But for some reason, Legs, they seem to be meshing perfectly.
Yeah, they are. And I think in a lot of ways, Kyrie Irving is back in that exact same place he was at playing next to LeBron James, right? Where LeBron is sort of the center of the universe, and he's the guy that has the most of the responsibility to set the table for other people, to be the leader, to answer questions after the game, all that stuff. And Kyrie could just go play. And that's exactly what he's doing here. He's next to a guy that's very similar in style of play, in the way that they control the game with the basketball, and Kyrie can go play. I'll say this. Kyrie Irving is at his best when he comes out aggressively as a scorer. I think it sets the night for him. And that's what they needed out of him last night. And if you go back to the last couple games in the last series, he sort of felt his way in the first half and was more of a playmaker. And then in the second half, you know, he turned it on to the extent that he needed. I think that's a little bit risky. Will it be there when you need it if you haven't gotten yourself going in the first half? So I thought it was really important that Kyrie was that aggressive against this great defense to start the game.
I love the fact that that he was listening to Anthony Edwards, that he did not pretend that he didn't hear it, that he did not downplay it, that he absolutely accepted it. He saw what Anthony Edwards did with Kevin Durant. He saw him nodding at him and saying, you're too old, I got you. He saw that stuff. He saw him talking to the crowd in Denver and Jokic not liking it. So Kyrie heard that after Game 7, and he came ready for it to let him know, okay, you want to test me? Let's go. I'm going to show you there's levels to this.
Yeah, I'm going to play that for you in a little while. He said, he talked about it with Charles Barkley and those guys on TNT after the game. Kyrie did. So we're going to get to that. In the meantime, Cindy, if I could put up full screen number 2, because Legs, you talked about how we don't have any MVPs left. Or Alan, I think you mentioned there were no MVPs left. Well, I would bet you my house that this guy's going to win one someday, Anthony Edwards. And we've seen him be so good in this postseason and show so much leadership and so many things you love. But the reality is he has struggled the last 2 games. He's averaged 28 points on 50% shooting in these playoffs, but in these last 2 games, the numbers have been way down. Windy, you were there last night. What did you see, and what did he say about it afterwards?
Yeah, well, the Mavs set a trap for him. They packed the paint and really encouraged him to shoot the outside shot, and he frankly took the bait. Now, obviously, he is a good outside shooter. If you're going to allow him to have an open 3, the Wolves want him to take it. But his average shot distance last night was almost 23 feet. Average. This is a guy who's one of the most dynamic drivers to the basket and finishers around the rim in the league. They took it away from him. They had 2 or 3 guys standing in his way every time he touched the ball. And look, I've seen this with star players repeatedly over the years, including with guys like LeBron James. In these big games, you're going to be a little tentative. And he also was very tired. He admitted that he was feeling the effects of Game 7. Coming off of that, he didn't have energy at the end of the game, and it played into the Mavericks game plan.
Yeah, so a fascinating Game 1 to what we hope and promises to be another really good series.